Okay, so let's move over to rookie mistake number 2, that is judging SoC ability with clock speed. This one is like, I don't know, maybe it came from an old time where people did not really understand how CPU architecture and stuff worked like that. I don't think the information was really all that clear then. So what mostly vendors, manufacturers did was to just tell people that hi and welcome to another video. Now, social media is a wild place. It's a wild place really, because you go out there and you never really know what to expect. For somebody like me, I like patronizing, or I like visiting, frequenting tech groups, especially smartphone tech, which I really love a lot. I can spend most of my free days just like, getting in from one conversation to the other, from one argument to the other. I try to impart knowledge, and I also try to learn as well, because nobody's an island of knowledge. But when you go through social media, sometimes you see that there are people who hold, you can't even call these views outdated or archaic, because they're just flat out wrong, right? They're just flat out wrong. They're absolutely wrong. Now, yes, I understand that like lots of people are now starting to like take note, becoming more aware, to use the American term. They're becoming woke when it comes to smartphones and smartphone technology and stuff like that. And then you come out, you go out on Facebook, Twitter, stuff like that, and you see people like trying to give out these explanations. So somebody has a problem and they're trying to help, and they're offering some like really outlandish information to the person. You just cannot help but laugh sometimes, because most of them are unbelievably funny. Fortunately, some of these people want to learn. Unfortunately, many of them hold on to their beliefs, and if you tell them they're wrong, they feel it's an insult to their person, which is never really the intention. If you're watching this video and I have maybe I've chastised you on social media before, it's all in the spirit of learning. Honestly, I bear no ill will towards anybody, and this video is not a shade at anybody at all, absolutely not. But in today's video, I'm going to be talking about 4 rookie mistakes that people who don't really know much about smartphone tech make when they want to talk about smartphone SoCs. 4 rookie mistakes people make when trying to compare, contrast, or talk about smartphone SoCs. So let's get into them one after the other. Alright, so the first mistake that lots of people make is judging SoC ability, that's the ability to process data and stuff, processing power and all that, on the number of cores that they have. It does have some merit, but that's like 5 years ago stuff. 5 years ago, when we still use mostly quad core SoCs, and then the smartphone world was moving to 64-bit, and everyone was moving over to octa-core SoCs. But I'm not saying it doesn't have its merit. It does, because obviously a quad-core SoC, that's quad 4, an SoC with 4 CPUs is better than a dual-core SoC, that's an SoC with 2 CPU cores. But once you get over quad core SoCs and you move into the realm of hexa-core, which is 6-core SoCs, which Apple uses for all of its flagships, and octa-core SoCs, which is like the standard now for octa, meaning 8, which is the standard for Android phones now, things get to tend to get a little bit messy, because there are times when some of the hexa, even though some of the old ones, some of the hexa-core SoCs from Apple, which are the Bionics, will destroy octa-core from Android, from the mid-rangers and the lower mid-rangers and the budget section and the entry-level section. So you cannot really use the number of cores as a yardstick to measure anything. No, you cannot do that. Instead of doing that, you are going to want to look at what CPUs are on the SoC, and then you can be able to tell how powerful it would be. But just like some people, they want to, like, somebody's asking them like, hi, is this SoC powerful? And they just look at it and say octa-core. Yes, octa-core is powerful, it's very good, you can do this and you can do that. What if there are like 8 Cortex A53s on that SoC? Is it really powerful now? Absolutely not. So that's that. All right, so let's get into rookie mistake number 2, and that is judging SoC performance with clock speed. Now, lots of manufacturers are still pushing this outdated narrative, and they'll just tell people that our SoC runs at so and so clock speed, let's say for example 1.8 gigahertz or 2.0 gigahertz, and that means it's good, you have to go and buy our stuff. And this has actually fed the rhetoric that some people have when they want to, like, when they have 2 CPUs together, or they want to judge CPU performance. Because I've seen people come out and say that I cannot buy anything below 1.8 gigahertz, or if it's not 2.2 gigahertz, I'm not buying. Or when they see one SoC with 2.0 gigahertz and another with 2.2 gigahertz, and they instantly assume that the one with the faster or the higher clock speed is better. No, that does not. In fact, clock speed is not even like a metric to judge CPU performance, like pure raw CPU performance. Absolutely not. What clock speed means is that the speed, clock speed actually refers to the speed at which a CPU can be able to carry out the fetch, decode, execute phase, and then output. So there's on every CPU, on every SoC, there is a timer, a clock timer that can be able to manage or watch the speed of how fast a CPU can be able to do fetch, decode, execute, output, fetch, decode, execute, output. So if you were to, like, for example, those people who root, you can, if you want to jack up the speed of the clock speed of your SoC, it means it will be able to carry fetch, decode, execute faster, fetch, decode, execute faster. That's just simply what it means. The speed at which a CPU can be able to carry out its tasks by itself. It has nothing to do with the architecture or the power or the load that a CPU or an SoC in general can be able to do or carry or process. Alright, so now let's move on to number 3. So for number 3, another rookie mistake that people make when they want to talk about CPU performance or compare CPUs or SoCs rather is this belief that it's the name of the manufacturer of a certain SoC that counts, that matters. So when some people like want to argue, for example, when they want to argue about stuff, like I think there was this time when I posted something. It was a comparison between the Snapdragon 439 and the Helio G70 that I put on my website, I think about a year ago or 2 years ago. And I think the first thing, somebody just immediately accosted me in the comments. The person obviously didn't read it. Like, how dare you compare Snapdragon to MediaTek? Are you sure you're okay? Should we take you serious? And for a second, I actually doubted myself for a second, because I knew that I did my research. Snapdragon 439, Helio G70 is better. But at that point, I had to like doubt myself. I had to go back and start flipping through my notes. Like, dude, Jeffrey, are you sure you put out correct information for people to read? So it was only after I had seen it, I had taken a very good look at it, I had looked at it over. It took me about 10 or 15 minutes before I could come back to reply this guy. So lots of people believe, it's not just him, lots of people believe right now that you cannot compare anything Snapdragon to MediaTek, that it is an insult. This is not true. Like I said, previous videos, SoC manufacturers make CPUs or SoCs in grades. So you've got flagship, mid-range, budget, entry level. So for example, if you've got a budget Snapdragon SoC and you've got a mid-range MediaTek, obviously, without question, the mid-range MediaTek is better than the budget class Snapdragon SoC. That's just the way it is. But lots of people will tell you that, how dare you compare MediaTek to Snapdragon? How dare you? It's the same thing too with Exynos. Like, how dare you compare something else with Exynos? Samsung are the greatest and Samsung are the best. It's a totally rookie mistake. Sometimes these companies can actually make bad SoCs as well. They do sometimes. It cannot all be perfect all of the time. You get? So that's for that. Judging an SoC's performance just with the name of its manufacturers, and yes, some people are going to say that some SoC manufacturers are known for quality. Absolutely agreed, but do not just take the name, because some people, when they say I'm going to do my research, they're not going to do any research. They're just going to look at the name of whoever made the SoC and bam, they're back and they will tell you that Snapdragon 225 is better than MediaTek Helio G90. And guess what? Usually always, this is I'm always smacking my face every time I see people like that. So let's go to the last one, which is nanometer size. People judging. It's actually a recent one that I have seen, and it's what actually prompted me to make this video in the first place. Nanometer sizes. Yes, some people agree. Like, if not just some people, I think everybody agrees now that when you look at the classes of the CPUs, when you go higher from budget to mid-range to flagship, the nanometer size gets smaller, because obviously you want the newer SoCs that are coming through to be more efficient, to consume less power, and to be cooler. But just because this is a correlation doesn't mean it's a causation. What do I mean? Just because that flagship SoCs are getting the smaller and smaller nanometer sizes, 5 and 4 currently for these gen flagships, doesn't mean that, because some people, like there was this argument on Facebook, the Snapdragon 680, which is new, is a 6 nanometer processor. That means it was built on a 6 nanometer process, against the MediaTek Helio G95, which is built using a 12 nanometer process. And some people were like, since it's Snapdragon and it's 6 nanometer is better than 12 nanometer, so therefore the Snapdragon 680 is better than the Helio G95. And I was like, are you for real? And yes, this person was actually for real. So what nanometer sizes mean is actually efficiency battery consumption, that's which is less battery consumption, and then heating. So the smaller the number, the less battery to consume, the less it will heat, and the more efficient it will be. Higher numbers means more battery consumption and more heating with less efficiency. That's all nanometer sizes are for. You could have the hottest and the most the hottest and the most battery consuming SoC, which would actually be a lot more powerful than the weak SoC that has a small nanometer size that runs cooler and efficient. All right, now, so in summary, I'm rounding up this video now. The four key rookie mistakes that people make is judging on core count, number of CPUs, judging on clock speed, judging on the name of the manufacturer, and finally judging on nanometer sizes. Because as of people, when they tell you that I'm going to go and do research, they will go and look at the name of whoever made the SoC, look at the number of cores, check clock speed, and then check nanometer size, and come back and say, boom, I have done my research. No, you've not done your research. That's I hope we've watched this and we've learned, and I think people can start making their corrections from there. Or if you haven't been making these mistakes, you can pass this video along to help educate other people who are not as knowledgeable as you are. Please, my name is Jeffrey and this is our channel. Make sure to remember to like and subscribe and share this video with your friends. It helps a lot, and it keeps me going making these videos. Thank you very much, and voila, bye bye.